Hello, friends. Uncle Marv here with another episode of the IT Business Podcast, the show for IT professionals and managed service providers where we help you run your business better, smarter, and faster. Well, folks, we are taking a little change of pace today on the show. And today I'm just going to be bringing you some news that I think is actually important and directly relevant to running your business. We're going to be talking about some backup and patching emergencies to zero trust tools, some program shifts, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm going to try to break down what matters most and what you should do next without the fluff. So let's jump in. Veeam released updates for backup and replication, resolving several serious vulnerabilities, including 2 critical remote code execution issues and a highly severe SSH credential extraction bug. An authenticated domain user could achieve RCE on the backup server, and a backup administrator could achieve RCE in high availability deployments, while low-privileged users could extract stored SSH credentials. These issues affect Windows-based backup and replication and the Veeam software appliance. So we're seeing that Veeam servers are high-value targets because they often hold privileged access to all client workloads and backup repositories. A compromised Veeam instance can turn your last line of defense into an attack pivot. MSPs should treat this as an emergency patch, prioritize upgrades, review admin access to the Veeam, and rotate any SSH credentials stored in the platform. The March 2026 Patch Tuesday addresses 93 vulnerabilities across Microsoft products, with 8 rated critical and 75 important. The release excludes fixes for 2 publicly disclosed zero-day vulnerabilities and 9 previously patched edge flaws. The affected components include Windows kernel, Kerberos, Hyper-V, SQL Server, graphics, file server, and app installer, with several high-impact remote code execution and elevation of privilege bugs. So if you're managing M365, Windows Server, or Azure connected workloads, you must quickly integrate these upgrades into patching workflows, especially for domain controllers. Hyper-V host and SQL workloads that underpin many client environments are also included. And then you should review vendor guidance, prioritize critical and zero-day fixes, and be ready to explain patch urgency versus potential downtime risks to customers. At Zero Trust World in Orlando, ThreatLocker announced new Zero Trust network and cloud access capabilities that extend its deny-by-default security model beyond endpoints. The tools control access to SaaS platforms and company networks by requiring both valid credentials and a trusted device, blocking attempts to use stolen credentials against services like Microsoft 365, Salesforce, Jira, and ConnectWise. Partners and ThreatLocker executives emphasized that this is aimed at reducing phishing-driven business email compromise and network exposure from MSPs clients. Credential theft and session hijacking remain some of the most painful gaps even for MSPs with solid conditional access policies. ThreatLocker's additions give MSPs a way to bind SaaS access to devices and shrink this attack surface while consolidating tools. This can support stronger stories to clients and cyber insurance carriers about zero trust controls around identities, SaaS, and remote access. Pax8 published its March 2026 Microsoft update, calling out changes to Microsoft benefits, the Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program incentives, and related partner timelines. The post also promotes hands-on labs in March focus on topics such as Defender threat mitigation, Azure Virtual Desktop, and securing Microsoft 365 before implementing Copilot, as well as the June Beyond 2026 partner event in Salt Lake City. Program and incentive tweaks in the Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program can materially affect margins on M365, Azure, and Copilot services, especially for MSPs transacting through PAX8. The security-focused labs that focus on Defender and M365 hardening are a chance to refine standard offers and align with Microsoft's expectations before clients broadly deploy AI-powered features. Recent 2026 cyber insurance readiness guides for small businesses in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and other regions stress that carriers now require documented controls such as MFA across email, VPN, cloud and admin accounts, advanced EDR, MDR, robust patch management, and regularly tested immutable backups. Carriers are acting more like security auditors, verifying implementation rather than accepting checklist attestations. And we're seeing that partial security, basically only doing email MFA, can result in higher premiums or even coverage denial. Many guides explicitly recommend partnering with MSPs to achieve and maintain compliance with these controls prior to renewal. This shift supports MSP security as a service offerings. You can package MFA, EDR, MDR, backup testing, and policy documentation as mandatory baselines tied directly to insurability. It also raises the bar. If an MSP stack doesn't meet carrier expectations, clients may blame the provider when coverage is denied or premiums spike. And finally, a 2026 legal guide notes that 20 U.S. states now have comprehensive privacy laws in force as of January 1, 2026, each with different scopes, definitions, and obligations. Minnesota's Consumer Privacy Act, which actually became effective July 31st, 2025, introduced mandatory data inventories, profiling, transparency, retention limit, and documentation requirements, and it notably does not exempt nonprofits. A separate March 2nd, 2026 update tracks additional proposed state privacy bills, and those come up in Washington and Connecticut, that would add data broker registration, algorithmic pricing disclosures, and expanded controls over biometric and location data. So if you're an MSP supporting multi-state clients, you will see growing demand for data mapping, retention policy enforcement, and vendor oversight services, not just basic security tooling. You should be prepared to help clients understand where their data lives, how long it is kept, and which processors, including your MSP, have access. Then prove it to regulators or auditors. All right, friends. Well, that is going to do it for this Change of Pace newscast. And hopefully we hit some stories that are relevant to you and help you run your MSP better. If this format helps you make better decisions, tighten your stack, justify your prices, just let me know, and I'll work on continuing to bring you news that matters, not just noise out there. So thanks for hanging out, folks. We'll see you soon. Holla.